Natalie Demchuk.
Hello.
Ma'am, thank you so much for coming on. This is super exciting.
Oh, thanks for having me. Oh, yes, I am.
So you definitely have something, or you are doing something different that I personally haven't. I mean, I've heard of it. I've never met anybody that does this.
Actually, I only heard of it when I accidentally fell into it. So
what do you mean you fell in? How did you stumble upon this profession?
Okay, so I studied biomedical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if I start with like my education.
Yeah.
I studied biomedical engineering and I graduated, and I wasn't really active in searching for a job, which you should be.
Yes.
But so I was just working like a regular job, and then my friend who I went to school with, she invited me to this. She recently got a job at a hospital working as a biomedical technician, and she invited me to this meeting of all these like biomedical technicians in the biomed field, like health technology field. And I went there and I met this
cute guy.
This is becoming too long.
No,
like the way I'm explaining it.
Fine. No, you have an hour and a half. So you're fine.
Okay, so the president of that committee or whatever it is,
association.
Association. He was saying that if you need a job, he was talking about like the biomed field, and he was like, if you're looking for a job, you come up to me after and talk to me. And I was like, oh, great. Yeah. So I came up to him and I was like, hey, my name is Natalie. I just graduated UC Davis. I'm all scared. I'm this is like a scary thing. And he was like, yeah, email me. So I emailed him, and I don't remember if I heard from him or not. Anyway, so some time goes by, and I get a call from my friend, and she's like, hey, this guy is looking for you. Like he's wondering if you'd be willing to work for his company, And I was like, shoot. So I call him, and I tell him, like, I don't know anything. I just got out of college. I'm like, I'm just going to be straight up, Yeah. I just got out of college. I have no experience. And he's like, no, you learn as you go. So that's pretty much how I landed this job. It kind of fell into my lap, and I decided to take it.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I've been on this journey.
Awesome. For how long now?
It's going to be a year in December.
Awesome. So, that's exciting. Yeah. So biomedical technician.
Yeah, biomedical technician is
biomedical technician. You got a UC Davis to 4 years.
Okay, so now this is where to do what I'm doing right now, biomedical technician, you don't need the degree that I have.
Okay.
I don't think you
pretty
even
much you're way too smart for your job.
I'm way too qualified. So hire me, biomedical engineering. No, I know you cut that out. Okay, so to do what I do, biomedical technician, I learned after I got this job that American River College, which I actually went to, has a program. It's a certificate program, so you don't even need an associate's degree. I think you take this program. I don't know how long it is. You get a certificate, and then you can start. Of course, you're going to be like at an entry level,
Right.
But also, I'm like, from my experience, you can get this job without any certificate or any education.
Okay.
Because I think to get it without any experience or any education, you'd have to kind of have maybe
marry the owner's daughter.
Not exactly.
Something like that.
Not exactly. Like, for example, I know my boss, he's hired people who have not had anything to do with this industry.
So your boss hired people that didn't have a degree in this field.
Yes,
but they had prior
that didn't even have prior experience in this field.
Okay.
So that's why I can say that you don't have to have an education, because I've seen where people were hired because he knew, like, for example, my roommates, my friends, the girl that invited me to that committee thing, her cousin got hired, and he had nothing to do with in the biomed industry, but he got hired, through references and stuff.
Okay, so, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if you want to do that kind of work.
How much do they pay you for you to reference somebody?
Oh. I mean, look, I'm going to say this actually.
Yeah.
Because my boss, he's always looking for people. So if you're like handy, if you out there listening to this are handy with tools, and I don't know, like to like tinker with things, like to take things apart, I would say this is a good job for you. And I don't know how much maybe people make. Okay. Cut that out.
Minimum wage is $8.50, so that's what you could expect.
Yeah. So if you like that kind of work, you know, working with tools and stuff like that, I think this would be a good field for you because it doesn't require a lot of education, and it's something that you could do like
if you have common sense, and
it's something you could do to begin with, and then you could see maybe where
it takes you,
because it also gets you into a hospital, and you could see a lot of other jobs through that, you know. That's
true. And I mean, you meet people obviously that do things like you, and then the people you do these things for can like say, hey, I really like this person, that they would be good here or something, and they can lead you to your next step, which is pretty cool. So what does a biomedical technician do? Like what are you working on?
So a biomedical technician takes care of medical equipment. Okay. So obviously every hospital, every clinic has medical equipment that needs to be maintained and taken care of. So what we're responsible for is an annual check. So for example, there's like I do clinics. I don't work at a hospital. I work at clinics. So I'm a field service, which means that I drive from clinic to clinic. I don't have like a home base where I come to work and then leave work. So I'm just going to different places that need me. So for example, in my experience, we have the clinics I work for are under a hospital. So the hospital owns all these clinics, and the hospital has a database. The hospital has a database that that a record of all the equipment, you know, we have an asset number that you can look it up. Every asset has a history of, you know, the repairs done on it, when it was checked, you know, by who it was checked. And so every month I get a monthly like list, you could say. Inventory, yeah. Okay. So that month I have to get those pieces of equipment checked. Okay. So usually it's by clinic, you know, so that whole clinic needs to be checked. Sometimes it's by building. So like a building has multiple clinics and in different suites. And then that whole building needs to be checked. So that I do that throughout the month. And then while I'm doing that, I'm also doing service calls. So if something breaks or if something's not functioning like they want it to, they put in a work order. And then that comes to me. Well, that comes to the hospital. And then if it's referring to the clinics, then they send it to us. Okay. And then I take, if it's urgent, if it's like really urgent, then I do it right there and then, or at least I go and try to figure it out. But if it's not, then I like either schedule it or So that's the other cool thing about my job is that since I'm a field service technician and my schedule is flexible, so it's like 2 a.m, you're like, I'll go fix something. Well, I wish, but I don't have keys to a lot of those things, you know. Okay. So I wish, because that would be so. You can get them so done. Convenient, yeah. Come in early, leave early. Yes, because sometimes I'm like in the way, you know. That's sometimes you're just like, okay, can I do this when you guys all leave? Because I don't want to be over here like feeling like I don't belong, you know. Yeah. But so if like those work orders come in, and unless I schedule something like I'm gonna be there tomorrow at 7 a.m., then obviously I have to be. But otherwise, you know, if I wake up and I'm like, I'll get 30 more minutes in, I can do that, which is really cool. But the thing is, if I start later, I have to. You work. You end up later. Yeah, you work later. Yeah. So what? Okay, so your service thing. What's like? What are you looking for? What kind of tools are you using? Okay. Let's get into a little bit of the details. Okay. Are you programming things? Oh, no. Okay. No, like some biomed technicians could be like higher ups, could be programming like maybe ultrasounds or like, but I don't know how to do that yet. So I don't do that stuff. I change batteries. Ooh, No.
Actually, my remote control, it's not working.
Gosh. Yeah. So, okay. Like for instance, like the monthly checks.
Yeah.
Are so I have this tester that I use.
Yeah.
And it tests. I mean, it has limits, obviously. You know, for the EKG machines, I can attach the leads and I can put waves. It's kind of like a simulator, you know. It simulates a human body.
Okay.
I can put in, you know, a bad wave, you know, and it should detect that this is an abnormal wave, you know, or like a abnormal heartbeat. Or I just put in regular waves and make sure that it's all the leads, you know. Like
that's
strings.
A pretty responsible job.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, it is
like an EKG.
It's,
like if an EKG doesn't work right, like the dude's dying, and the EKG is like, nope, the EKG's showing he's fine. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's scary. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not sure if I'm like checking this right, but it's like.
So you Google it real fast.
So half my day is research.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have people I can ask, you know, which is a good thing. And that's the other cool thing is that my friend, that's how I got this job. My friend, she works at the hospital that's like the home base for all these clinics.
Okay.
So she's like my contact point, you know. So I go there to to their shop, and I know her coworkers now, and a lot of them like are really have worked there for years and years. So they have a lot of knowledge that I can benefit from.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's good to have connections.
Yeah. But that's where I would say is also a difficult part of my job because I am field service. I have to do things on the spot and I'm by myself, you know? So I can technically ask them, and I do if it's something urgent or if I don't know what else to do, but they're not at my beck and call, you know. They also have their own jobs. And yeah, so sometimes, you know, she tells me about her day. You know, she's at the hospital, she brings it to the shop. All the, you know, like all the people working with her are there at the shop. They could give her points. But me, I come to a clinic, I'm by myself. Sometimes I come to look at a machine that I've never seen before, you know. So like usually before I try to at least, you know, see what it does, you know. Yeah. Oftentimes those you don't have to exactly know what it does because the problems are, you know, you can figure it out.
Right. Every machine works. There's a basic system to every machine.
Yeah. You know, if the light's not turning on, clearly, you know, that's
the light bulb's out.
Or you know, you check that. You check that first. You know, then if the light bulb is working, you know, you check, you know, current. You know,
okay.
But, I mean, it's, you know, it's like if it's an electrical component, you work on that. If you see there's no electricity, then if it's something mechanical, you just look at that. I don't need to know exactly what this table is doing. If they're telling me this knob is stuck, then it's stuck, you know, it needs to go up.
You gotta get it unstuck.
Yeah, then I just get it unstuck, you know.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. And then we do electrical safety. Electrical safety is a lot of that's the other thing is that you learn as you go. When I got hired, I didn't know a lot of this stuff.
Right, it comes with experience. Yeah. I mean, there's probably no place where you can learn all because there's so many different machines.
Yeah.
There's never a place where you're gonna these are all the machines you're ever gonna use. This is how you fix them.
Yeah. If I would say a very helpful thing for this job would be like basic electrical engineering classes, just basic, you know, so you know how to use like a multimeter and like, you know, just check voltage and stuff like that. Know where to stick those things. I mean, hey, if you stick it somewhere else, you won't get hurt. Yeah. My biggest fear is like breaking those machines, you know, because
they're so expensive.
Some of them are really expensive, and some of them are like the only one in that clinic, you know. And I'm like, if I would be working at it, you know, at home or like at a shop, you know, I'd be just like tinkering with it. It'd be so much more
relaxing, less pressure.
Relaxing, because it's like, oh, this thing you have to fix, and if you break apart, you just order this. But this is all like on a really tight, you know, schedule. Okay. So I'm almost scared to try certain things, you know, like to be like I try to be like on the safe side. You try to be as less risky as possible. Yeah, But I was saying something earlier. I forgot what I was talking about. And then I stopped in with the electrical classes. Oh, electrical safety. Yeah. So you just, if something plugs in and it's a medical device, we check tables too, because I guess anything that touches patients, you just check. So you're checking for, I don't know, basics like power cord resistance and if the current is going to all the right places, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so then if the patients touch the table, all of a sudden they're not the ones shocked, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes maybe some people don't think it's important, but it's a very important, like...
Actually, when I just started this job, my boss was telling me that before, in the olden days, a lot of hospital deaths were because people were getting electrocuted by the equipment, which is crazy. Yeah,
that is crazy.
But nowadays everything's like plastic and covered in plastic, so
protected, and people like you make sure that it's safe and working properly.
Yeah, which is actually kind of annoying for me sometimes that everything's covered in plastic, because when I do electrical safety, so I plug in the device into my tester, and I need to get a ground, you know, so I need to get a place where I can get the current.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything metal to stick it to, you know, so I can't like ever find a ground. So sometimes, you know,
so you find a guy with a metal tooth.
Hold this table. Yeah, but it's fun.
That's cool. So, okay, so we learned a little bit about how you got this job, but why did you decide to go into this field?
Okay,
like what made you want to go into biomedical technician? Wasn't your goal, kind of, but biomedical engineering and stuff?
Yeah, so choosing a major was very, very difficult for me, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, especially coming out of high school.
Yeah, which
is, I guess, this is like what is geared towards people coming out of high school and stuff. Oh my goodness, I remember those years. I just couldn't narrow down my interests. You know, I felt like I was interested in everything, which at that point I would suggest because I was interested in everything, but I think a person still has certain passions that are
strengths.
Higher than other
things. Okay.
So it was very hard for me to narrow down what I wanted to do. Like, I knew I was going to school. I knew I was going to go to college. But I was like, what am I going to major in? So what I did was, straight out of high school, I went to Bible school so I wouldn't have to think about it.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, but then I went to Bible school, and then I was on missions, and it was coming close to the time when I was coming home, and I was like, oh man, I need to start thinking about what I'm going to be doing. You know, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
I need to declare a major. So Alona and I, my cousin, you know Alona.
Yeah. Oh.
So we both went to American River College. We came from missions together, and we were both at the counselor's office. And I was standing in line waiting to see the counselor, and I was having this conversation with her. I was like, okay, Alona, look, I like Spanish, but I could just learn Spanish late. Like, I could just learn Spanish.
You wanted to become a Spaniard?
I was like, how to become a Spaniard? I could just learn Spanish. I don't have to major in it, you know?
Right.
Then I like history.
Okay.
But history is just interesting to, like, you know, observe it, you know, like learn about it here and there, not like
watch.
What am I gonna, you know, be a
historian? I mean, you could have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that would have been great too.
But to be honest, you're probably just more interested in like a documentary, like watching a documentary than.
But see, that's the thing. I'm interested in things to a point, but then when I actually have to go to school for it and actually work full time for it, I'm like, am I really that interested?
Okay.
You know, so then I was like, I mean, I was always interested in music. But I was like, I could always do that, you know, as well. I don't have to, like, that's something I could do.
Man, so many choices.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'm not bad at math and science, you know?
Yeah.
And she said this. She's like, then why don't you do engineering? Because it's both math and science. And I'm like, Alona,
man,
kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
And so I came in there, you know, I'm like, shoot, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, counselor, I'm doing engineering. And
you declared it.
Yeah, I declared it. And he's like, what kind of engineering? And I was like, oh, well, I'll get back to you on that. I didn't know there were kinds, you know?
Yeah.
So I went home and I researched like the different branches of engineering or whatever it's called. I'm so sorry, plant.
That's okay.
And I really liked biomedical engineering because I liked the idea that you're working with the human body. I love people,
Yeah.
And I love the idea of like, like prosthetic arms, helping people. It's kind of like medicine and engineering at the same time.
Yeah.
I guess I was trying to kill more birds.
Engineering lives.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so like my grandma, she was on a wheelchair like from her early 20s for the rest of her life, so wow. I could and I saw firsthand what medical technology and medical devices like can do to a person's life,
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really cool, so that's what I majored in. Now when I finished so I went to ARC, then I transferred to UC Davis. When I finished school, or like when I was close to finishing school, what I and a lot of other people in our field found out was that a lot of these biomedical engineering companies hire mechanical engineers and electrical engineers as opposed to biomedical engineers because they need people specialized in that field.
Okay.
If they're doing a prosthetic arm, they need the mechanics of it. If they're doing, something electrical, they need the electrical engineer.
Okay, gotcha.
I couldn't think of something off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But so I would suggest for people who are thinking to go into biomedical engineering to really look into what you want to do and what is required for that. Because I had a specific idea in my head, and I wasn't really looking at all the pathways
Options.
to get to it.
Okay.
I was like, "Ooh, biomedical engineering, that must be the way,"
Okay.
And it is. Obviously, those companies obviously hire biomedical engineers too. But I looking back, I think it would have been wiser maybe to do maybe like mechanical or
something more specific.
Yeah, I wouldn't do electrical because shoot.
Yeah. Too much.
Yeah, that stuff is not easy. And then maybe like if you want to go back to school, do like a master's in biomedical, because what a lot of like biomedical engineers, I don't know much about this because I just started in this field.
Yeah.
But from what I know, I can say that a lot of them do like project management, because they are the ones who have the connection between all those engineers, who know their field. But that's after a lot of experience,
right. Okay. That's pretty cool. So you can almost like double major in management and biomedical engineer.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Oh, and so then how I got into biomed, like the healthcare technology, like the biomed side of things, is because of how my friend invited me to that thing.
Yeah,
and I just like when he gave me when he offered me this job, I was okay. So when he offered it to me, he said I could come. So it was in the Bay Area, and he said I could come there for like a week and see if I liked it, like shadow him for a week, see if I liked it. So when I went for the interview that first day, I woke up super early because you have to, like, San Francisco, to get to San Francisco in the morning, it's like
it's a pain
4-hour drive,
Yeah.
So I woke up super early and he was driving me around from clinic to clinic. I was so, like, the whole day I was so overwhelmed and tired. I was like, I am not taking this job no matter what. He'd be like, I just want to show you all the different, biomed shops. And I'm like, they all look the same. Like, they all look the same. He was just like taking me to biomed shops,
Yeah.
So I come home and I was like, nope. And then when he said I could do the week thing, and I was like, okay, I shouldn't be too quick to say no,
Yeah.
because I haven't been very active in searching for a job.
Yeah.
So I took him up on his offer, and I spent a week there, and I'm gonna say it was very, very hard for me. It was very, very hard. Like, I'm just gonna say that. I was like a tough. I don't like. Okay, I'm obviously, I grew up in the United States. I'm a very sheltered person, but that was a very tough week for me.
Yeah.
And I came home and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I weighed the pros and cons, and I decided, I don't have to. And I told him like from the beginning that this is not my long-term goal.
Yeah.
Because you could grow in biomedical
technician.
As a biomedical I'm just technician. Gonna say biomed, or they used to be called like civil. Clinical engineering. They used to be called clinical engineering, but now it's all more like biomed industry, I guess. But I told him that I'm probably, this is not my long-term goal.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking, okay, I'll try it. Every job is hard at first, right, and right. I will tell you guys, whoever is listening to this, that it definitely got a lot easier, and I'm a lot more comfortable. Obviously, there's still hard things and things that stress me out, things that I don't know. And sometimes, I dread going to a certain clinic because I'm like, how am I going to figure this out,
Yeah.
But overall, it's definitely not like it was that first week, so oftentimes you just need to give something a chance, and maybe it'll work out for you.
Definitely. So we definitely talked about the why you kind of just fell into this job, which is kind of cool. The job kind of almost found you, and who knows where it'll take you.
I wouldn't even know about this industry if I would not have found a job like this,
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty cool thing to know. So.
It is, definitely. What would you recommend someone in high school? And they're looking into engineering or looking into the biomedical industry, and they're trying to expose themselves a little bit. I know, like, say, ROPs in high school, nothing's really directed in this part of the medical field. Everything's like medical, nursing, like more patient care stuff, Can people just like find a company like yours and, hey, I want to job shadow you, or I want to, and is that allowed if someone wants to expose themselves to that?
I'll say that for the company that I work for, and probably for many companies, that's for sure an option. My boss is really cool. He would let if people want to reach out to you, I'm pretty sure he would let them shadow me and or shadow him. He doesn't do a lot of like technical work anymore. He does more like administrative stuff. He's the boss.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, he's really cool. So he'd be like, he would love for people to get exposed to this field.
Okay.
But for a hospital, I'm not sure how open they would be, just because I'm not even super exposed to that hospital.
Okay, gotcha.
I could ask my friend.
I'm sure even spending time with you or like clinical, whoever's interested would be exposed just to the basics of how things work and the schedule and all that type of stuff, which is super cool.
Yeah, the day-to-day.
Is there like a Facebook group for biomedical technicians? Like, where can people reach out to people like that?
Okay, so there's the meeting that I went to. It's called CMIA. Now I have to think of what it means. CMIA. Definitely Medical Instrumentation Association. See, maybe California.
Okay.
I don't know. CMIA though, that's what it is. So that's like a whole group of biomed people. Exactly what I do. That's like a whole group of them. And there's conferences. I've actually had an opportunity to go to a few conferences where I learned more about this field. You learn about the companies involved in it, the manufacturers involved in it. But to look up, there's another. See, that's the thing about not preparing. There's actually like another group, Facebook group. Maybe I can give you the information later.
Yeah.
For girls, like for women, women in healthcare technology. So that's another cool.
See, that's awesome. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, I feel like this field is only gonna grow.
Oh yeah.
Because
definitely.
The more we move into the future, everything's moving like technology-wise. There's gonna be more automation, more technology, more machines that are gonna have to be maintained. And actually, we had a guest on, Eric, who is an engineer as well, and he was saying that he was actually wanting to be a biomedical engineer too, but now he's working with like programming other machines and all this stuff. But I feel like everything's moving into automation, and it's a field that's gonna grow. And even I would suggest, if you're not even interested in something specific in automation or engineering or like technical stuff like that, like you said, you don't have to get a 4-year degree in it. You get a certificate just as a backup plan because everything's moving that way.
And also with engineering, I would say that engineering is so broad that even if like I got a biomedical engineering degree, even if you get a mechanical engineering degree, that doesn't limit you. Like you still have so many opportunities to do so many different things. I mean, like an electrical engineer is hired by car companies, is hired by medical companies,
spaceship
is hired
companies.
by spaceship like you can, like with engineering, I feel like that's why I'm saying I'm so young in this field, because a career path can go in so many different ways.
The options are limitless. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm not even stressed out about where I am right now. I'm enjoying myself because
exactly. All you could do is learn the most from what you have.
Yeah, everything's a stepping stone.
Exactly. We had this guest on, Tanya. Nothing's a waste of time. Everything's a learning experience.
Nothing's a waste of time. Actually, I will say that even though I'm not doing maybe biomedical engineering, I mean it's related, but I'm not doing like the design of equipment or manufacturing of equipment. I would never and even if I never will, I think an education is just never a waste of time. I mean,
for sure,
especially for a lot of us right now, we have like I didn't pay for my I'm barely anything I paid out of pocket for my education. Just like
grants and scholarships and all that type of stuff.
And a lot of people have that opportunity. So why not?
That's awesome. Exactly. And if you really don't know what you want to do, go to Bible school.
And if you really don't know, go to Bible school, fall down on your knees and seek the Lord.
Exactly.
Actually, that's the other thing that I struggled with. That's why it was so hard for me to choose a major, because I'm this person, I was always like, God, what is my calling? Like, what do you want me to do with my life?
Yes.
I really wanted to
go fix a machine, Natalie.
Hey, that's life changing. Just from behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just really wanted to fulfill my calling, and what should I do? And it was such a hard decision for me, But my cousin Vadim actually told me, he said. And I was like, one time I told him, I was like, I wish God would just be like, do this,
Yeah.
And he said, God did. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it says in the Bible, go and preach to all nations, And I was like, yeah, you're right. And also in the Bible, I love this verse. There's I think it's written in Acts.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about how, so God created all the nations.
Yes.
He created all the nations and he appointed the time for them.
Yeah.
And so that they would seek him.
Yes.
Even though he's not far from any one of us. So he created so we would seek him. So I would say don't stress about your job and your career so much. Stress about whether you're seeking God or not, you
know? Seek the Lord first, right? And everything else
will be added. Yeah.
And everything else will be added. There's just a golden verse right there that we could apply to everything.
But I will also say that, see, it's like a fine, it's like
a balancing act.
It's a balancing act. Because maybe not all, but some people were definitely called to certain things, and it's beautiful to see a person doing what they were supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I definitely want to be there someday. I don't think I'm doing what I'm meant yet.
What you were meant to be doing, but you see, you won't know unless you try.
Yeah.
Even if God is calling somebody, or someone knows I'm gonna be doing this, but they're afraid to try it, or sometimes you have to get up on the mountain. You got to get up the hill. The hill will take you up to the mountain.
Yep.
I don't know if that was a good example, but
I was gonna say something. I just lost it. Oh, whatever.
But it takes one step at a time, to get to your goal. You take one step. You learn something here. Then you can use what your knowledge here, take it up a step higher.
Definitely. We learn as we go.
Exactly. So that's awesome. I really hope you guys are encouraged by Natalie.
And I'm also going to say that sometimes what you're meant to be doing, how I just phrased it like that, is not a job or a career. You're going to have a job in this world, to make money. And you should do something you enjoy.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not specifically what you're meant to be doing. Maybe what you're meant to be doing is being a mother to, your kids,
Yeah,
or being,
yeah.
like it's more abstract than that. And sometimes we try to fit it into like this.
We try to fit it into a degree.
Yeah,
and it's not always a degree.
It's not always a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, a job like does take up a lot of our time, So if you can do for your career something your passion,
you like or something,
that's amazing. That's beautiful. Yeah. But if maybe something is not your passion, a lot of people do, maybe like they don't hate their job, but they have like passions and hobbies on the side, and that's totally fine,
Definitely, I would agree with you. And so maybe like you were saying, some people have certain strengths in, say, mathematics or something, but they don't really want to do, but they love art. So they get a job doing mathematics stuff, and then they could do their hobby on the side or whatever. So that's awesome. Natalie, thank you so much for coming on. You were very...
are we done? I have so much more to share.
Really? No, do you have more? I don't know what to ask you.
Oh, okay, let's think about it.
Okay, let me say this. Natalie, is there anything else you would like to share? Are there openings for this job in Sacramento, in San Francisco? How much driving do you actually do during the day?
I did want to mention that the biomed field, from what I see, is lacking in employees and in people. So there is a high demand for people to come into the biomed field. I'm not sure about Sacramento.
Okay.
It's probably the same throughout, because that's what I like when I went to the conferences. That's what I keep hearing. Find like good biomed people. But I haven't really looked in Sacramento. So I work in the Bay Area, and I what the question was?
How much driving do you do?
How much driving do
I know? Okay, you work in the Bay Area. Obviously, a bunch of traffic.
Well, I rarely go into San Francisco, so I rarely cross the bridge. So,
awesome.
Yes, once in a while, because, so the company I work for is a startup company.
Okay.
So that's why my day-to-day duties may be a little different from like a regular biomed technician, because since it's a startup, you kind of have to, like do a little bit of everything sometimes. So it's a small company, just like maybe a few years in. And so what I do is I don't only do biomed work. Oftentimes I'm the one like, emailing. I kind of like do like paperwork stuff too,
Yeah.
Like if somebody needs something sent in, because also if something is really specialized, then we send it into like the manufacturer, for example, if we don't have a way to test it. Yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm calling, I'm emailing. I don't know, setting stuff up, stuff like that. And I drive a lot. I mean, there's around. My boss has been saying 80 clinics. I don't know. I don't remember like which ones I already came into contact with and which ones I didn't. So around 80 clinics. So I'm usually.
I mean, is it within like a 50-mile radius, 100-mile radius?
The furthest I go, it's definitely within 50 miles.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of clinics within the 50-mile radius.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, so
there's like sometimes there's a lot in like one square.
So say like
family practice, pediatrician.
Oh, okay, and everybody has some kind of machine in their office.
Yeah.
A couple machines in their office. Yeah. That's true. So say I get a job with you guys.
Okay.
I apply. Am I using my own car? Is my gas covered? How did that stuff work? Or does it change from company to company?
Oh, I'm sure it changes from company to company. So like I said, because my company that I work for, small and startup, I use my own car.
Okay.
I get reimbursed for mileage. It's very like flexible with my boss. He's very flexible, and like if I would demand from him that I don't want to use my own car, he'd probably, it's really cool. So
you just love your own car because it's so comfy.
It's whatever.
Yeah. Okay, got you.
Yeah, so you get reimbursed for mileage, definitely. Mostly, I have to log my hours. I have to log because that's how we charge. I get paid salary.
Okay.
From my boss pays me salary.
Yeah.
But the way. Okay, so
let
me retract how it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Well. Everybody, okay, I already said that I work for a company. So the hospital has their own biomed team that works in the hospital, but because they acquired so many clinics. Like they used to do their clinics when they had a little bit. They would come out like over the weekend and do the clinics. But because they have so many clinics now, they hired, like they contracted out
The
a company.
clinics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're like we're in contract with the hospital. So
Okay,
we pretty
gotcha.
much charge the hospital, or like we charge the hospital through the clinics
Okay.
by like how much time we spend
Okay.
driving and how much time we spent
Okay.
working on the equipment.
Okay, awesome.
But I personally get paid like just salary, like the same.
Okay, so you get a
every
salary
2
pay.
weeks. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't know of any jobs in Sacramento or any
I
companies
haven't-
in Sacramento?
I've heard of companies. I don't know even what their names are right now. I haven't, like I said, when I just graduated, I didn't really look into jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And since I haven't really looked into jobs,
Okay.
I wouldn't be the best
So
person
you live in the Bay Area?
I live in the Bay Area right
Okay.
now. I come home most weekends, but it's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
So okay.
It worked out really cool actually, because I live with my friend
Mhm.
who we went to school together for the same thing,
Mhm.
and we went to we work in the same industry right now, and she's a Christian, and it's
Mhm.
really cool. We're very much like, we're really alike. It's really cool.
Okay, so she's like your best friend now.
She's a really good friend of mine.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's all because
Actually, I'm gonna say one other
Yes.
piece of advice.
Yeah.
If you're interested in engineering or in like tech work, like
Yeah.
biomedical, biomed work, I would say to not be afraid to socialize, because there's a stereotype in this biomed industry,
Yeah.
because the biomed shop is always in the basement,
Okay.
and like people assume that all those, usually it's all like, it was like geeky guys,
all the
always
people in the
working-
dungeon.
Yeah, and like they don't have any social skills, and they come out, once in a blue moon, to fix something, and then they run back down there,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not always the case, but oftentimes it is, because a lot of times people who are good with like their hands are
Yeah.
not very maybe good social, but that's a lot of the work, especially like in a clinic where
Mhm.
I come to work at a clinic where I've never met these people, it's not like you meet the people you work with and you're
Right.
coworkers with them sometimes. So I have to come, and I have to, be
It's a first impression
pleasant.
every time.
Yeah, and I have to be friendly, and I
Yeah.
have to not be rude.
So
and
social
stuff like
skills
that.
are highly appreciated.
Yeah, I think they are everywhere.
Yeah, they are everywhere, but especially when you keep meeting, you probably tell everybody that you have one story, and you come in, you start with the same story to everybody, like, oh yeah, well, this is my program.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I will say this. That's one thing I do not like about my job, is like the field service, is that I don't have, like, pretty much I have coworkers, but I don't know them. Like people who work, I do know them a little bit, because like sometimes we do things together, and obviously we communicate like over the phone and over email. But since I go around everywhere, I don't have like a workplace.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I sometimes it feels like you don't belong. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah.
Like you come and you're trying to fix their equipment, like you need me here, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
acting like I'm in your way, and
Yeah.
maybe I am, but it's like I have to be here.
So do you come in and say, yo, this is my house?
Yeah, I mean, usually I come in and I talk to like the receptionist, and I'm like, hello, I'm from Biomed, and I'm here to, do the annual check on your equipment, and it's due this month.
Yeah.
So I'll be coming by. I like to email them or call them
Yeah.
before, usually, just so that they know I'm coming. But
So are they helpful about it? Do they
it
bring all the
depends.
equipment into the
oh
room?
my goodness, it's so different. Like sometimes a clinic is like so. I'm like, you guys are the best. You guys are so helpful. They're like, okay, what do you need? Okay, you can use this room. Set up here. This is like, here. Let me walk you through. This is our clinic. And sometimes you just. I mean, I don't mind if they leave me to my work, because I don't
Yeah.
care. I just go poke around cabinets. I'm like, is there anything here that needs
Yeah.
to be like, now that I'm comfortable? Before I was like.
Yeah.
Just drop me here in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't even like give you the time, They're like, are you done with that? And I'm like, if you want your equipment checked, I need time to do
Yeah.
it. This all takes time, you know? And so sometimes I'm just sweating over there, like rushed, trying to finish everything, like don't do don't close anything out. Like I'll close this out at home,
Yeah.
So that's one thing I don't exactly like. But the
Okay.
flexibility of the schedule is really cool,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, for the fourth time, Natalie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you
Honestly,
for having me.
dude, are you kidding me? You agreed with like a very short notice, and you probably do not appreciate the info that you actually provided to a lot of people that had no idea.
I feel like it was so scattered.
No. That it was very good, and the info you provided to a lot of people. Like for me, I had no idea what this job is, or what you do, and that definitely brought me some insight. I mean, you do a valuable thing where when we go to the hospital or clinic, we make sure that the machine is telling the nurse or whoever's using it that something's wrong with us. You know?
It's definitely an important. It's an important.
It's very important. It's like a backstage type of thing, but it's very, very, very important. So again, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate your time and driving down here from the Bay Area. Just for this interview is super cool. Yeah. Anyways. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. If people have questions, maybe I didn't.
Yes, if you guys have questions, email us or comment down below in the video. If you're on YouTube, Instagram, wherever you're watching this, also like, share, subscribe. As you know, I hope that you find this information, this podcast, very valuable, informative, and that is our goal: is to give you guys this information to prevent you from wasting time. In college, to prevent you from wasting time in Bible school, unless that's exactly what you want to do. So anyways, subscribe, like, and share with your friends, peers, whoever's looking into careers. Ooh, that rhymed.
Careers. Nice. We got a poet in the house.
Kanye West.
Give him a beat.
Yeah. We need Kanye West to come up here, dog. All right, thank you guys. Peace.